Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to make some cards. Over the last weekend they had the Creative Memories Worldwide Virtual Crop, and with that you got some lovely shabby chic rose colored paper. I do have some layouts to do with flowers, but not as many as I will need for this paper. So I decided to take some of this pretty double-sided paper and make some cards using a one-sheet wonder technique. So we'll go to the craft room and I'll show you how I use this grid sheet to make 11 lovely cards. The nice thing about the new paper pack that's out with Creative Memories in the Rose Shabby Chic and all the embellishments is that they have made available a digital format for those of you who did not get the mystery box, or like myself really like the little extra embellishments that came with the kit. And they got these cute little roses and things like that. So if you get the digital kit, you can download the images, just print them on a piece of cardstock, run them through your paper, fussy cut them, and you can make more of these cards if you want to use the rose theme. Otherwise, the technique I'm showing you today is good for any double-sided paper that you may have in stock. So let's go to the craft room and show you how quickly you can make backgrounds for 11 cards. For the cards we're making today, you are going to be needing some adhesive, your trimmer with your scoring blade. You'll be needing the grid instructions. I'll do a freeze frame of it so you can sketch them if you want to, or you can email me and have me send you the PDF of this sketch. You're going to need one double-sided paper. If you want to do a quick variation of many cards, the other option is to use 2 sheets of paper. I cut them in half. So you'll have one full side, but half of one sheet and half of another sheet, which will give you 4 variations to do different things to make your design. And this is what I'm going to be doing today. You'll be needing a sheet of white cardstock to cut out some bases, and you'll be needing 6 sheets of background cardstock in red, white, whatever color you want. Some of the cards I made, I used a deep brick red or a red to make some cards. This time I'm going to try and make it with my cranberry cardstock. So if you have 8.5 by 11 cardstock, you're kind of good to go. If you're using a 12 by 12 cardstock, the best way to trim your cardstock to your working size for your backgrounds is by first making your first cut at 3.5 inches to take that piece away, which will make a good strip for a page layout later, and then take 1 inch off the top, and then you'll be left with your 8.5 by 11 standard sheet of paper to make quarter cards. From that, you're going to want to cut to 5.5 inches. We'll go here to our 5.5 inch mark, which is basically flush with the edge of your board. Cut that, and then from here we're going to score. So we'll grab our scoring blade out, flip it over, take my trimmer, swap out blades to scoring, and we're scoring at half of 8.5, which is 4.25. Whenever you score something, remember where your crease is in your score, you've pressed down, you've got the bulk on the other side, which you're going to fold into. This has been stretched to fold over. So that'll be the base of my card. So you'll need to make 11 of those. All right. Onto the paper templates, how to do our cutting, and then I'll go on onto the base assembly. Take your 12 by 12 sheet of paper and you're going to cut it in half at 6 inches. So once I cut my page in half at 6 inches, I will have 2 half sheets. Like I said, I cut mine in half at 6 inches, 2 different sheets to give me more variation. Once I have my 2 6-inch sheets, I'm going to stack them just for easier cutting, and I'm going to go on to my next grid cut, which is going to say cut one at 4.5 inches, the next at 4 inches, and 3.5. So let's start with our 4-inch trim. Then we'll do our 4.5, because I didn't do it first. And that will leave us 3.5 inches for our final cut. There's our 3.5, and there's our 4.5. From our 4.5 side, according to our instruction sheet, is we are now going to take our 4.5 by 6 piece of paper. We're going to rotate it, and we're going to cut it at 3 inches. So we're cutting at 3 inches. Just like so. And from these 3 inches, we'll stack one more time again, and we're going to be cutting at 1.5, 2 cuts. 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches. Now these are all the pieces we need for our first set. For our second set, in the 4 by 6 piece of paper, our instructions are showing us to cut off 3/4 of an inch at the bottom to start, and that's going to be used to make the third grid. So let's take a little bit off the bottom, 3/4 of an inch. There we go. Now I'll go with the last piece, and then we're going to take what's left, our 5.25 inches that are left, and it's 4 of them. We're going to cut 1-inch strips. So let's just go across here. And these are all the pieces that we're going to be using to assemble 4 more cards. So from here, we are going to take our cards one more time again. Now these are 3.5 inches width, so you want to go 2.25 inches down twice. So we're going to go 2.25. Which will give you a piece that's remaining. That is 1.5 by 3.5, and we're going to cut that in half at 1 3/4. So we're going at 1 3/4 on this grid. And we're done all our cutting of our double-sided paper. For the first card we're going to be assembling, it's basically going to be looking like this one. We're going to be making 4 of them. And you can see how I varied the patterns and flipped them around to do different things. So with these ones here, we're going to need a background piece in white, and the dimensions for that is 5 by 3 1/4. Best way to do that, cut. We're making 4 cards, so we'll need 4 of them, is to go in our 3 1/4 inches. Save for another day. High 5. And now we're ready to assemble our first card. So for our first card, we have our base, and we're going to play with our pieces. For our cards, we're going to need 3 pieces. Now don't forget, these ones are all double-sided, so I can pick front or back sides of these ones as I see fit. I kind of like that one. So you can mix and match and decide which groups of 3 you want together. I kind of like that one for a front. Use that one on a side. We'll use that one on a back side. We can use this one. I kind of like this one as a center. And you can use some back sides. They can be all different, all the same. This one has more flowers, so this one I'll probably use the front side. Do something like that. So you can decide which groups and combinations you want to put together for your piece. Light, dark. That one in the middle. You decide. So once you have your combinations, you can see how you can make 4 different cards with all of those. So I'm gonna go with this combination right here, and that'll be the first one I put together. Slide these to the side. And you grab your piece that you cut, and it's just easy enough. You can use your 0 centering ruler if you want to keep it really straight on your grid. Again, using your 0 centering ruler, you want to center your item on the middle of the card. So I'm going to go 2.5 by 2.5. And it's just up a little grid. So if I'm using this one, I can pop that one right in the middle. And I can center my first one. You can see how it's centered between these lines, and it's just quick and easy to adjust. Add some adhesive. Keep that centered. Gonna center that right there. Next piece. Sit there, and the third piece. Sit just like that. It's all nicely centered on the card. Add some adhesive on the back. Add it to our base. And we have our first card base to put in a verse or a sentiment. You're all set to go. You can add a simple sentiment on the top, add some extra embellishments, and that's card number 1. With these pieces, you'll be making 4 cards like this. For card number 2, we started with a 4x6 piece, and we cut all these cute little strips. This again will make 4 cards, and you're going to need 2 strips with each card, and you're going to be adding them to your base. You'll need to score your base a little bit differently. So I'll show you how to do that. Starting with your 8.5 by 5.5 piece of paper. We're going to rotate it to make a card, and we're going to need to score at 4 1/4, which is half of 8.5. And then you want to score again at 1 1/4. There we are. The first part we will fold over, and then we will take our 1 1/4 piece and just fold it back on itself. And we will be putting in some adhesive and holding that down. And then you get to choose your selection of various strips and decide what you want to use for your card. Again, it's a mix and match. You can do a whole bunch of different variety of things. I'm going to go with the little flowers on my back panel, and on my front little panel that I have, I'm going to add these roses. So that will be the base of my card before I add my embellishments. You can see with mine, I did add some of the other Border Maker cartridges to add some depth. And other pieces I had floating around in my embellishment box. So again, with these pieces, you'll be making 4 bases like so. This one has the base, and I added some of the Dips and Diamonds punch. And on this one here, I went with the red and added again more with the rose Border Maker punch. Okay, that's got 8 cards down. We only have 3 to go. So on to the next one. So from the last panel, we had the 3.5 by 6 from the pieces that were left and the 2 strips that came off here. We're going to make 3 more cards. So from these ones here, we have 4 pieces. So we're going to match our 4 pieces and just use our strip in the middle to make some sort of a combination. Now you can make it so it goes horizontally or vertically. So this one, I've got a card that's opening up in a landscape format, and this one here is opening in a portrait format. Whatever you want. I'm using my red again for my background, and this one here, I believe I'm going to go with these little pieces on the bottom, because this way I can add my verse down in this space. I'll have my rose up on the top. Your eye is accurate to within 1/16 of an inch. Add the red across the middle. And you're all set to accent your base and finish that card. And for the last card, we'll take our remaining 4 pieces and we're going to just affix them to the top of the card. If you have your 0 centering ruler, you can run your 0 on your mat and center your card. So I'm at 2 3/4 either direction that way, and double check my center going up and down. On the 0, on 2 1/8. So I'm going to center my card on my mat, and that way it will be easier for me to place my little pieces. And know that they're centered on the card. I can do a visual down these lines. Like so. So let's attach them. And from that, I have all the bases I need to go ahead and embellish. So just a final review from this One Sheet Wonder grid template. Cutting your pieces 4.5 by 6, you'll be getting enough pieces, little pieces, to be making 4 of these cards. From your 4 by 6, you'll be getting these pieces plus the extras to make 4 of these cards. The extras will go on to grid number 3. With these larger pieces, you'll be making 2 background bases with that sheet, and the last one, these little pieces, you'll be making 1 final card. So you'll be getting 11 cards in total from all the little pieces you make from one double-sided sheet of paper. I hope you enjoyed making cards with me today, and if you want the template sketch for the instructions, just look at my description below and you can email me and I can send you the PDF. If you have any other comments or suggestions, feel free to comment below. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, or join my virtual crop group, and you can post all your creations there to share amongst the other people that are participating in these challenges. All right, we'll talk to you soon.